social justice. The government is responsible for looking after the welfare of the people. In a democracy like India, every person has the right to equality. But this right sometimes gets violated as one section of the society exploits the other weaker sections. It is the duty of the government to enact some laws so that such exploitation does not take place. All the people should get equal treatment in the society and should be subjected to the same laws. Such a situation in which there is no discrimination in the society is called social justice. The government tries to create a condition of social justice through certain laws and regulations. Let us look at some of them. Labor laws. Labor refers to agricultural workers working in the fields of other farmers, or workers in factories, or casual laborers in construction sites, or those who carry loads. Workers often have very harsh working conditions as well as poor living conditions. They have long working hours, less payment, inadequate safety measures, no job security or job benefits, absence of leaves, and inadequate access to health facilities. All the population of India is very high. It is rather easy to find laborers for doing all kinds of unskilled jobs. The employers pay them very less, and often these jobs include health hazards as well. The workers are usually very poor, illiterate, and hence incapable of asking for compensation or taking any legal action against the employer for the violation of their rights. It is therefore the duty of the government to provide some protection to the workers in the form of laws so that exploitation at the workplace does not occur. Let us look at some laws enacted by the government for the benefit of the workers and some other sections of the society. The Minimum Wages Act 1948. This act aims to guarantee to all the workers a minimum wage for the work they do. The minimum wages are revised every few years. Under the provisions of the Minimum Wages Act 1948, both central and state governments fix, review and revise the minimum wages of the workers employed. The state governments fix the minimum rates of wages payable to employees and review the rates at regular intervals. The employer pays wages at the rate not less than the minimum rates of wages fixed under the Act. The Act also provides for regulation of working hours, overtime, weekly holidays and overtime wages. The employer pays wages at the rate not less than the minimum rates of wages fixed under the Act. The Act also provides for regulation of working hours, overtime, weekly holidays and overtime wages. Plantation Labour Act 1951. A large number of workers work on large plantations. Often these workers are underpaid and exploited by the employers. The Plantation Labour Act was enacted to provide certain basic facilities to the plantation workers. It regulates the conditions of service in plantations, working hours, leaves and holidays. Sickness and maternity benefits are also provided under this Act. The Act seeks to ensure that drinking water and sanitation are provided to the plantation workers. Employers are also supposed to provide canteen, creches, and recreational, educational, and housing facilities. The Child Labour Prohibition and Regulation Act 1986. We have already learned that child labour has been banned by the Constitution. However, we also know that many children are still employed in factories, roadside dhabas, restaurants, and even as domestic servants. The Child Labour Act aims to prohibit the engagement of children below 14 years of age in certain areas of employment and to improve the working condition and environment. Some of these areas are work in a catering establishment at a railway station involving the movement of vendor or any other employee of the establishment from one platform to another or into or out of a moving train. The Port Authority within the limits of any port. Work relating to selling of crackers and fireworks in shops with temporary licenses. Automobile workshops and garages. Handling of inflammable substances or explosives. Mines and collieries. Plastic units and fiberglass workshop. The Act also prohibits the employment of children in any workshop where processes such as beadi making, carpet weaving, cloth printing, dyeing and weaving, manufacture of matches, explosive and fireworks, or the manufacture of slate pencils are carried out. Laws for women. An important aspect of social justice is the equal treatment of men and women. The Constitution states that no discrimination can be made among citizens on the basis of their gender. Traditionally, women have faced immense discriminations in society, so the government has enacted some special laws to give them equal status in society. Equal Remuneration Act 1976. The Equal Remuneration Act provides for the payment of equal wages to men and women workers. The Act states that an employer is bound to pay equal remuneration to men and women workers for work of a similar nature. This Act is a major step towards eradicating exploitation of women. The Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005. This Act provides protection to the wife or any female member from domestic violence by the husband or his relatives. Domestic violence under the Act includes actual abuse or the threat of physical, verbal, emotional, or economic abuse. Harassment by way of dowry demands from the woman or her relatives is also covered under this Act. The Act also provides for the woman's right to reside in the matrimonial or shared household, whether or not she has any title or rights in the household. Welfare laws. Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizens Act 2007. This Act benefits senior citizen or elderly parents who are unable to maintain themselves. The objective of the Act is to provide for more effective provisions for the maintenance and welfare of parents and senior citizens guaranteed and recognized by the Constitution. It makes the maintenance of parents by their family a legal right. Consumer Protection Act 1986. This Act aims to safeguard the interests of the consumers. Under this, consumer protection councils have been set up at national, state and district levels to raise the awareness of the consumers about their rights and for the protection of the consumer rights. Special consumer courts have been set up which deal with cases regarding grievances of consumers. A consumer can file a case against the seller if he or she receives substandard or faulty goods or services. In each district and each state, consumer disputes redressal commissions have been set up. Each of these are headed by judges. The National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission is located in Delhi. If a person after complaining to a district commission is not happy with the verdict, he or she can approach the state commission and ultimately the national commission. Laws and the environment. Environmental pollution has been a major cause of concern. Pollution of air, water and land poses a great threat to our health and well-being. The Constitution clearly states that it is the duty of the state to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard the forests and wildlife of the country. Directive principles of state policy as well as the fundamental rights outline the duties of the citizens towards the environment. It is the duty of every citizen to protect and improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers and wildlife. Right to clean and healthy environment is an essential part of the fundamental right to life. Earlier, there were very few laws which dealt with the protection and preservation of the environment. However, environmental disasters such as the Bhopal gas tragedy further highlighted the need for environmental laws. The Department of Environment was established in 1980 to ensure a healthy environment for the country. It became the Ministry of Environment and Forests in 1985. The Environment Protection Act 1986. The EPA, Environment Protection Act 1986, came into force soon after the Bhopal gas tragedy. The Act empowers the central government to undertake all the measures necessary for protecting and improving the quality of the environment and preventing, controlling and reducing environmental pollution. The central government is also authorized to make rules for carrying out the purposes of this Act. A pollution-free environment is necessary for our survival. The government periodically enacts laws to protect the environment. Use of plastics is banned by law in many parts of the country. Smoking in public places is also banned.